Islands aren't just tropical getaways with sandy beaches. Some are so bizarre, they seem like they're from another planet. Imagine an island where everyone must carry a gas mask, or one completely overrun by venomous snakes. These aren't movie sets or made-up stories, but real places hiding in plain sight across our oceans. Today we're diving into the 15 most bizarre islands on Earth. 1. Hashima Island, Japan. Off the coast of Nagasaki lies a ghost island that looks like a battleship floating on the horizon. Hashima Island was once one of the most densely populated places on Earth, packing over 5,000 people into just 16 acres of concrete. For nearly a century, this island was a thriving coal mining facility owned by Mitsubishi. Workers lived in Japan's first large concrete apartment complex, complete with schools, restaurants, and even a movie theater, all crammed onto this tiny patch of land. When petroleum replaced coal in Japan's economy in 1974, the mines shut down and everyone left within weeks. They abandoned everything: furniture, personal belongings, and photos still remain in the crumbling buildings today. Nature is slowly reclaiming the concrete jungle, with plants breaking through cracks in the buildings. The eerie abandonment caught Hollywood's attention, with Hashima serving as inspiration for the villain's lair in the James Bond film Skyfall. After being closed to the public for decades, parts of Hashima opened for tours in 2009. Visitors now walk carefully planned routes through the safer areas of the island. But most buildings are too dangerous to enter. UNESCO declared it a World Heritage Site in 2015, preserving this strange piece of industrial history despite objections from South Korea, which points to the forced Korean laborers who worked in harsh conditions during Japan's colonial period. 2nd, Socotra Island, Yemen. Often called the most alien-looking place on Earth, Socotra Island sits isolated in the Arabian Sea. Cut off from mainland Africa for over 6 million years, evolution took a completely different path here. The island's most famous resident is the dragon's blood tree with its umbrella-shaped top and red sap. These bizarre trees look like something from a Dr. Seuss book, with thick trunks supporting branches that spread outward and upward, creating a dense canopy. Nearly 37% of Socotra's plant species exist nowhere else on the planet. The bottle trees store water in their bloated trunks, while desert roses look like bonsai trees on steroids, with their thick, twisted stems topped with clusters of pink flowers. Despite being part of war-torn Yemen, Socotra remains largely untouched by conflict. The 50,000 residents speak their own language called Socotri, and maintain traditions that date back centuries, including sustainable harvesting of the island's unique resources. The landscape shifts dramatically across the island, from limestone plateaus and granite mountains to white sand dunes that slide directly into crystal blue waters. UNESCO recognized this biodiversity hotspot as a World Heritage Site in 2008. Climate change now threatens this biological treasure, with increasingly powerful cyclones battering the island and damaging the ancient dragon's blood trees that can take decades to recover if they survive at all. 3. Floating islands of Lake Titicaca, Peru. High in the Andes Mountains, the Uros people live on islands they built by hand using nothing but reeds. These floating homes on Lake Titicaca aren't anchored to the lake bottom. They're massive rafts of totora reeds piled several feet thick. Each island lasts about 30 years before decomposing, requiring residents to constantly add fresh layers of reeds to the top. The spongy surface feels like walking on a waterbed, with the islands rising and falling slightly with each step. The Uros began building these islands over 500 years ago to escape aggressive neighbors, particularly the expanding Inca Empire. Today, several hundred people live across roughly 120 artificial islands, maintaining a lifestyle unchanged for centuries. Everything on these islands is made from reeds: houses, boats, furniture, and even watchtowers. The residents harvest fish from the lake and shoot birds with reed blowguns, while also selling colorful handcrafts to the tourists who now visit regularly. When cooking fires get out of control, Entire sections of islands can burn away in minutes. Neighbors must quickly help rebuild before the remaining structure becomes unstable and sinks into the frigid waters of South America's largest lake. Modern influences have arrived. Some islands now have solar panels powering TVs and other devices. Yet children still learn to swim before they walk, and boats remain the only transportation between these floating communities that sit 12,500 feet above sea level. 4. North Sentinel Island, India. In the Bay of Bengal sits perhaps the most isolated human population on the planet. North Sentinel Island is home to the Sentinelese tribe, who have rejected contact with the outside world for thousands of years, violently. The Indian government has established a 3-mile exclusion zone around the island, making it illegal to approach. This policy came after multiple contact attempts ended with arrows fired at helicopters and boats. In 2018, an American missionary illegally visited the island and was killed almost immediately. No one knows exactly how many Sentinelese live on the island, with estimates ranging from 50 to 200 people. They're believed to be direct descendants of the first humans who migrated out of Africa, living as hunter-gatherers with no agriculture or ability to make fire. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami dramatically changed the island's coastline, yet the tribe survived. When helicopters flew overhead to check for survivors, the Sentinelese fired arrows at them, proof of their resilience and continued hostility toward outsiders. Anthropologists have only managed a few peaceful encounters in the 1990s, offering coconuts as gifts while keeping a safe distance in boats. No outsider has learned their language, documented their customs, or studied their health status. The island stands as one of the last places on Earth untouched by modern civilization, with the Sentinelese possibly unaware that they're surrounded by a world of billions of people, advanced technology, and global connections. 5th. Ilha da Queimada Grande, Snake Island, Brazil. About 90 miles off the coast of São Paulo lies an island so dangerous the Brazilian government banned all visitors. Ilha da Queimada Grande earned its nickname Snake Island honestly. It's home to between 2,000 and 4,000 golden lancehead vipers, one of the deadliest snakes on Earth. These vipers evolved in isolation with venom 5 times more potent than their mainland cousins. Their bite can melt human flesh and cause death within hours if untreated. With between 1 and 5 snakes per square meter, it's impossible to walk more than a few feet without encountering one. The island's lighthouse was once manned by a keeper and his family until, according to local legend, snakes slithered through their windows one night and killed everyone. Now, the lighthouse operates automatically, with maintenance workers required to bring a doctor whenever they visit. Scientists are the only people granted limited access to study these unique creatures. They must follow strict protocols, always travel with anti-venom, and never venture out at night when the snakes are most active. Illegal wildlife collectors target these rare vipers, with some specimens reportedly selling for up to $30,000 on the black market. This poaching, combined with habitat loss as people burn the vegetation, has made the golden lancehead critically endangered despite their fearsome reputation. The snakes became trapped on the island when rising sea levels separated it from the mainland about 11,000 years ago. With no ground-level predators to hunt them and limited food sources, they evolved to hunt birds by striking them from tree branches. 6. Surtsey Island, Iceland. On November 14, 1963, Icelandic fishermen spotted something incredible: an island being born from the ocean through a violent volcanic eruption. Surtsey burst through the Atlantic's surface in an explosion of steam and ash, creating landmass where none had existed before. Scientists immediately recognized this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to study how life colonizes new land. They declared the island off limits to everyone except a handful of researchers, creating a pristine natural laboratory that continues today. The first organism to arrive was a fly, blown by winds to the newly formed shores. Bacteria and molds followed, then seeds carried by birds or ocean currents. The first plant took a root in 1965, and by 2008, scientists had documented 69 plant species, along with 14 bird species, and even a few invertebrates. When researchers accidentally introduced a tomato plant by leaving human waste behind, they established even stricter protocols. Now, scientists must eat all food before landing and cannot leave anything behind, not even bodily waste, to prevent contaminating this pristine environment. Initially measuring about 1 square mile, Surtsey has been shrinking since its birth. Ocean erosion wears away at its shores, while the volcanic material that formed it gradually settles and compacts. Scientists estimate it may disappear beneath the waves within the next 100 years. This vanishing island provides invaluable insights into how ecosystems develop from scratch, knowledge that could one day help us understand how life might take hold on other planets or recover after disasters. 7. Poveglia Island, Italy. Just a short boat ride from the tourist paradise of Venice sits what many call the world's most haunted island. Poveglia has served as a dumping ground for societies unwanted for centuries. First as a quarantine station, then as a mass grave, and finally as a mental asylum. During the Black Death of the 14th century, Venice sent infected citizens to die on Poveglia. Later, during plague outbreaks in the 17th and 18th centuries, the island became a mandatory quarantine stop for all ships entering Venice. Many who arrived healthy soon fell ill from the concentrated disease. Historians estimate over 160,000 people died on this tiny half-mile island, with plague victims often burned on giant pyres. The soil contains so much human ash that fishermen refuse to cast nets nearby for fear of pulling up human remains instead of fish. In 1922, the island was converted into a mental hospital where, according to local legends, a doctor performed cruel experiments on patients before going mad himself and jumping from the bell tower. While these stories lack solid evidence, the tower does still stand despite being heavily damaged. The Italian government offered Poveglia for sale in 2014, hoping to transform it into a luxury hotel. The winning bidder, however, couldn't raise the funds, leaving the island abandoned and crumbling. Buildings collapse regularly as nature reclaims the structures. Despite being completely off-limits to visitors, urban explorers and ghost hunters occasionally sneak onto Poveglia. Many report hearing screams, seeing shadows, and feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, earning the island its nickname, Island of Ghosts. 8. Tashirojima, Cat Island, Japan. On a small fishing island in Japan's Miyagi Prefecture, cats outnumber people 4-1. Tashirojima's human population has dwindled to fewer than 100 elderly residents, but hundreds of semi-feral cats roam freely through abandoned houses and quiet streets. The cat population explosion began centuries ago when fishermen brought cats aboard ships to control mice that would otherwise damage ropes and nets. The cats followed the fishermen home to the island, where they were valued for protecting the silkworms used in the local silk industry. Locals believe feeding the cats brings good fortune. When a cat died, fishermen would hold small funerals and bury them in special graves near silkworm shrines. The island even features a cat shrine called Neko Jinja at its center, built to honor a cat accidentally killed by falling rocks. Despite being overrun with felines, the few remaining human residents wouldn't have it any other way. Many are elderly fishermen who share their daily catch with their furry neighbors and welcome the company in a place where young people have long since moved to the mainland. Tourism has become the island's new economic lifeline, with cat lovers from around the world making the pilgrimage to this feline paradise. Visitors sleep in cat-shaped cabins while photographing the friendly cats that approach anyone offering a snack. When the devastating 2011 tsunami hit northeastern Japan, Tashirojima was directly in its path. Miraculously, the island suffered minimal damage compared to surrounding areas. Locals credited their protective cats, reinforcing the island's belief that felines bring divine protection. 9. Miyake-jima, Gas Mask Island, Japan. Residents of Miyake-jima Island live with a nightmarish reality. They must carry gas masks at all times or risk death from volcanic gases. This small island sits directly over an active volcano that continuously vents toxic sulfur dioxide into the air. The volcano, Mount Oyama, erupted violently in 2000, forcing all 3,600 residents to evacuate for 5 years. When they returned in 2005, they came back to a very different island, one where gas alarms sound regularly and breathing without protection can be fatal in certain areas. Gas levels fluctuate unpredictably, with winds sometimes pushing toxic clouds through neighborhoods with little warning. When sensors detect dangerous levels, sirens wail across the island, prompting everyone to immediately don their gas masks until the threat passes. Despite these hazardous conditions, about 2,500 people choose to live here permanently. Many say they've simply adapted to life with gas masks, viewing them as just another daily necessity, like carrying keys or a wallet. Children learn gas mask drills alongside fire safety in schools. The volcanic soil makes this island incredibly fertile, producing some of Japan's most delicious fruits and vegetables. This agricultural bounty, combined with stunning hiking trails and unique diving opportunities in crystal waters, continues to attract a steady stream of adventure tourists. Scientists worldwide study Miyake-jima residents to understand how humans adapt to chronic environmental stress. Some residents report becoming so accustomed to volcanic gases that they can detect changes in sulfur levels by smell before the official alarms even sound. 10th Monkey Island, Puerto Rico. Off the eastern coast of Puerto Rico sits a small tropical paradise where humans are merely visitors, and sometimes unwelcome ones. Cayo Santiago, known locally as Monkey Island, is home to roughly 1,000 rhesus macaques who rule this 38-acre kingdom with surprising complexity. The monkeys aren't native to Puerto Rico, but arrived in 1938 when 409 macaques were imported from India for research purposes. Scientists created the world's first free-ranging monkey colony, allowing the animals to roam freely while conducting revolutionary behavioral studies. Each monkey on the island has been identified, tagged, and has its DNA sequenced, creating the most comprehensive primate family tree ever documented. Researchers can trace maternal lineages back 75 generations, providing unprecedented insights into monkey society and genetics. The island operates on strict monkey hierarchy. Several distinct social groups exist, each controlling different territories with complex political systems. Researchers have documented alliances, feuds, and even overthrows of dominant males that mirror human power struggles. Scientists must follow rigid protocols when visiting. Looking a monkey in the eye is considered a direct challenge that can trigger aggression. Workers carry shields for protection, as the macaques have sharp teeth and won't hesitate to attack if they feel threatened. Hurricane Maria devastated the island in 2017, destroying much of its vegetation and fresh water sources. Remarkably, most monkeys survived, adapting their diet and behavior almost overnight, providing scientists with unprecedented data on how primates respond to natural disasters. 11th, Tristan da Cunha, South Atlantic Ocean. The most remote inhabited island on Earth, sits 1,750 miles from South Africa and 2,088 miles from South America. Tristan da Cunha's nearest neighbor is the island of St. Helena, itself famously isolated as Napoleon's prison, yet still 1,510 miles away. Only 245 people call this volcanic island home, sharing just 7 surnames among them. Every resident is descended from the original settlers who arrived in the early 1800s, creating one of the world's most genetically homogeneous populations and a unique accent that blends early 19th century English with other influences. The island has no airport, with the only access being a 6-day boat journey from Cape Town that runs just 9 times per year. When medical emergencies occur, residents must wait days or even weeks for a passing fishing vessel or schedule a special visit from a South African research ship. All land is communally owned, with the farming and livestock shared equally among families. Money holds little value in daily island life, as residents grow potatoes, raise cattle and sheep, and harvest crayfish for export, their primary source of outside income. In 1961, the entire population evacuated to England following a volcanic eruption that threatened to destroy their settlement. After 2 years in Southampton, almost everyone voted to return to their isolated home despite being offered homes and jobs in the UK. Modern technology has finally reached this remote outpost. Satellite internet arrived in 2006 and television in 2001. Yet many traditions remain unchanged, with newcomers almost never accepted as permanent residents unless they marry a local, preserving the island's tight-knit character. 12th, Okinoshima, Rabbit Island, Japan. A small island in Japan's inland sea hides a dark history behind its current cute appearance. Okinoshima is now home to over 1,000 fluffy rabbits that approach visitors looking for treats. But during World War II, it produced poison gas for Japan's military campaigns in China. The island was erased from maps between 1929 and 1945, while workers manufactured over 6 kilotons of mustard gas and tear gas in absolute secrecy. Many workers suffered from toxic exposure, developing illnesses they couldn't discuss due to strict government secrecy policies. When the war ended, occupying American forces released the laboratory rabbits that had been used for chemical weapons testing. These rabbits bred with abandoned pets, creating the massive feral population seen today. Other theories suggest the current rabbits were introduced in the 1970s for tourists. The Poison Gas Museum opened in 1988, displaying gas masks, sealed containers, and photographs from the factory days. Just steps from where children feed friendly rabbits, visitors can view sobering exhibits detailing how chemicals made here caused agonizing deaths on distant battlefields. Despite its military history, the island now serves as a popular day trip destination, where photography enthusiasts capture images of rabbits swarming around visitors with food. The bunnies have become so accustomed to handouts that they actively chase tourists who bring treats. Scientists monitor the island's ecosystem carefully, concerned about both the unnaturally high rabbit population and potential environmental contamination from chemical weapons production. Some areas remain off-limits, with rusted danger signs marking spots where toxins might still linger in the soil. 13. La Isla de las Muñecas, Island of the Dolls, Mexico. Deep in Mexico, city's ancient Xochimilco canals, floats a small island that hosts one of the world's most unsettling collections. Thousands of decomposing dolls hang from trees and buildings, their blank eyes staring at visitors, their bodies weathered and dirty, limbs often missing or positioned at disturbing angles. The island's strange history began when a recluse named Don Julian Santana moved there in the 1950s. According to local legend, he discovered the body of a young girl who had drowned in the canals, along with her doll floating nearby. Feeling unable to save her, he hung the doll from a tree as a sign of respect. Julian claimed the girl's spirit began haunting the island, so he continued collecting dolls to please her ghost. For over 50 years, he scavenged dolls from trash heaps and canals, hanging them throughout the island. Some say he believed they trapped the girl's spirit, while others think he felt they kept her company. In 2001, Julian was found drowned in the same spot where he claimed to have found the girl's body. His nephew now maintains the macabre collection, adding new dolls brought by tourists who brave the journey to this disturbing destination. Visitors report unsettling experiences, dolls that move their heads to follow people, whispers among the trees, and cameras that malfunction mysteriously. Many claim to feel dozens of eyes watching them from the lifeless plastic faces that hang everywhere. Today, tour boats bring curious visitors down the UNESCO-protected canals to visit what's become known as Isla de las Muñecas. Most only stay briefly, uncomfortable with the island's heavy atmosphere and the weathered dolls, whose expressions seem to change with the shifting shadows. 14. Bishop Rock, United Kingdom, off England's southwestern tip, stands what the Guinness Book of World Records once recognized as the world's smallest island with a building on it. Bishop Rock is barely more than a wave-washed granite outcrop, supporting a 167-foot lighthouse that occupies every inch of available space. During low tide, the rock measures just 46 feet across at its widest point. At high tide, the entire island disappears beneath the waves, except for the lighthouse itself, creating the illusion of a tower rising directly from the ocean floor. Before the lighthouse was built in 1858, the rock was known as the Bishop, a notorious shipping hazard responsible for countless shipwrecks. The first attempt to build a lighthouse here in 1847 ended in disaster when a storm washed the entire partially constructed tower away before it was completed. The current lighthouse required engineering innovations for its time. Workers could only access the site during calm seas, building a structure strong enough to withstand waves that sometimes crash completely over the top during winter storms. The tower contains 7 floors, including living quarters, storage rooms, and the lantern room. The last lighthouse keepers left in 1992, when operations became fully automated. Today, maintenance workers visit just a few times each year, helicoptering in and landing on a small platform built atop the lighthouse, since there's no room for a helipad on the rock itself. For sailors navigating these treacherous waters, Bishop Rock marks the official boundary between the Atlantic Ocean and the English Channel. It also serves as the starting point for transatlantic sailing records, standing as humanity's last outpost before thousands of miles of open ocean. 15th. Azu Islands, Japan. The Japanese government requires residents of particular islands in the Azu chain to carry hydrogen sulfide detectors at all times. These devices sound alarms when volcanic gas levels become dangerous, a common occurrence on islands formed by an underwater volcanic chain. Unlike nearby Miyake-jima, where gas masks are mandatory, residents here have developed an unusual adaptation. They can sleep through gas alarms that would wake most people. Their bodies have also developed tolerance to hydrogen sulfide levels that would cause symptoms in visitors. The Azu archipelago consists of over a dozen volcanic islands, stretching south from Tokyo into the Philippine Sea. Each island has developed its own distinct culture, with some known for unique foods, others for hot springs, and some for diving in crystal-clear waters teeming with tropical fish. Despite volcanic hazards, these islands draw adventure tourists seeking experiences from swimming with dolphins off Mikurajima to night diving with luminescent squid near Hachijojima. Some visitors come specifically for volcano tourism, hiking to steam vents and crater lakes. Traditional industries like fishing compete with tourism for economic importance. The islands produce distinctive seafood specialties unavailable elsewhere in Japan, commanding premium prices in Tokyo's top restaurants just a few hours away by high-speed ferry. The remoteness of these islands created unique dialects that even other Japanese struggle to understand. These linguistic variations are gradually disappearing as younger generations move to the mainland for education and jobs, leaving aging communities behind on several of the smaller islands. These islands show us how strange our world truly is, with places that seem impossible yet exist just beyond our everyday lives. From deadly snake-infested rocks to islands haunted by creepy dolls, each tells a story stranger than fiction. While some islands welcome visitors looking for unusual experiences, others stand as warnings of nature's power or humanity's dark past. And somewhere out there, even stranger islands wait to be discovered, hiding secrets we can barely imagine. If you enjoyed this video, click on the video shown on screen to learn more Did You Know facts.